Small package, big drone with, as it happens, a bit of a low melting point. But look, if you are wondering whether or not to buy a DJI Mini 3 Pro, here's a quick long-term review after 4 months of non-stop use. Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, and as yes, you all know, I have been making full use of the Mini 3 Pro over the last 4 months in a load of different places. Some hot, some very hot, frankly far too hot in fact, some windy, up mountains, down cliffs. I've pretty much flown this everywhere you might well be flying a drone, and I think I pushed it pretty much to the limit. So today I thought I'd give a quick rundown of what's good, bad, brilliant or useless on this fairly pricey bit of kit, and basically how it's fared over 4 months of continuous use. I don't think it's any secret that I'm pretty much impressed with it. That's an impression though that has genuinely been earned, and it's only increased the more and more that I've used it. I've said before, the best camera is the one that's with you when you need it, and this is one of the main reasons why I love the Mini 3 Pro and why I find it so useful. Yes, it does come in a small little bag, but when I'm hiking, I have the remote control and the drone in 2 smaller bags that pack away in my backpack nice and easy and take up practically no space whatsoever. And this is why I find the Mini 3 and the remote so useful, because basically it's always there whenever you need it, packed in your bag for any walk or hike. Now, some people do make special trips just to fly their drones, whereas I see this a bit more like having a DSLR camera. You take it on a walk or a hike and you basically use it when you need to. I'm flying to get the picture. I am not flying for fun. And I think that's the key difference and what makes this such a useful bit of equipment to carry around, because with the Mini 3 Pro, I'm able to get brilliant 4K video, including brilliant HDR video, high dynamic range video, up to 30 frames per second in low light or high contrast situations. The stills are also brilliant. Yes, they're only 12 megapixels, but the larger sensor size on this means that the individual pixel cells are as big as you get on the Air 2S. So you get better still pictures in low light as well. And along with the excellent flight time, over 25 minutes when flying with the standard battery and almost 40 minutes when flying with the Battery Plus. Although annoyingly, you can't buy that through the official sites in Europe or the UK. But look, a lot of good stuff going on here. But for me, one of the best features of the Mini 3 Pro was the arrival of this, a brilliant remote dedicated to the drone without the need to hook up your phone with clamps and cables and whatever each time. Now, I know that DJI have had their smart controller for a few years, and to be honest, I never fancied parting with £500 on an accessory for my drone. And that has now been replaced by the even more expensive RC Pro. That goes for over £850, over $1,000, and that's more than the Mini 3 Pro with the RC package combined. And I think obviously this is going to be a slimmed down remote control, but so what? This remote works perfectly with the Mini 3 Pro, and that's why I think the Mini 3 combo with the RC really does seem to be the perfect combination at £850 or about $900. But it isn't just about price, is it? It needs to fly properly and take decent pictures and video. I've covered some of the main camera specs already, but look, how does it actually fly? Will it come back to you if you are flying in difficult conditions? Well, yes, frankly, but with a small caveat. I'm going to be blunt. The signal strength is okay. It's not excellent. Earlier in the year, I did some signal testing flying near trees, and the results weren't anything to get too excited about. Basically, if you fly near trees, you will get average signal. Simple as that. When I flew around the back field, around the back of the house, it dropped out, the signal dropped out exactly the same point that the larger Mavic 3 also dropped out. And look, bottom line, radio waves cannot bend around objects, and trees and leaves will suck up any reflections. So trees are always bad news. But the point I'm trying to make here is, without fail, when I have flown this in a clear line of sight with no trees nearby, I have never, ever had a signal problem. So for me, that is easily good enough. And remember, that's me flying in the UK and Europe, where unfortunately the remote reduces down the transmission power to comply with our regulations in the CE mode. If you are flying in the US or Canada, you're going to get far stronger signal strength and have even fewer problems. So to me, signal strength is not really a major issue. It's more than good enough for pretty much all of my flights. So What about flightability? Being incredibly light doesn't necessarily mean that it is useless in wind. Far from it. When I flew down on the south coast back in June, there were very, very strong winds, which were blowing out to sea, the very worst direction winds should be blowing if you're flying. You never want to fly out in winds that are blowing out to sea. But Mini 3 handled them absolutely fine. Not once was there any drift, and it still managed to fly at good speed right into the wind. And there is a reason for this, because the engineering specs show that the Mini 3 has got exactly the same wind resistance rating as the Air 2S. And it achieves this through an even steeper pitch angle, letting it fly even faster into strong wind. So I have complete faith in putting this little thing up into strong winds, and the video you get is still going to be super, super smooth. Look, another feature that puts this over the Mini 2 was the inclusion of forward and rear obstacle avoidance sensors. Now, in truth, I normally say you should be flying high up, well over any obstacles, but there is no doubt that anything that stops this flying in, crashing into a tree has surely got to be a huge bonus. And of course, with obstacle avoidance comes the ability to include other autonomous flight modes like Follow Me or Focus Track. Again, that's a lot of extras that you're going to be getting on something that is so small and light. And of course, this is the thing, isn't it? It's all about the size and the weight. Now, of course, there are bigger, better models out there, like the Air 2S. But what you get in one area gets taken away in another area when you start increasing the weight and size. And that is the whole point of the Mini 3 Pro. You get all the features that I've been talking about into a package that's small enough to slip into any day pack, and crucially, keeping it under 250 grams. And that is where the single biggest benefit of this tiny little drone comes into play. Under Europe and UK rules, being under 250 grams means you can fly this pretty much anywhere, as long as it's not in restricted airspace or over crowds. So this means you can fly it at the beach, you can fly it in the park, you can fly it in the middle of towns and cities, which is probably the single most useful thing about this drone. But it is so small and quiet, most people completely ignore you when you get it out. And when you start flying, literally after a few minutes, you just can't hear it. And this is the model, I think, that has made drones in public socially acceptable, if you like. People genuinely just give you a momentary glance and then just carry on around their business, completely uninterested in you. And that is exactly how I like it. And of course, don't forget that you can also recharge the batteries and the remote on the go using just a standard USB power bank. You can't do that with the Air 2S, you need mains power, but with the Minis, you can. And if your power bank has got one of the newer USB-C PD power delivery ports, you should be able to fast charge the Mini batteries in around an hour, which again is a really, really useful thing. So there you are. If you're still umming and ahhing about whether or not to get this, personally, I can definitely recommend it in pretty much every aspect. It truly is, I think, the perfect all-rounder. Whereas before, when I went away on trips, I used to always take the Air 2S and the Mini 2, which pretty much covered every base. But over the last few months, I have found myself only taking the Mini 3. It really is the only drone that I seem to use, and it's the only drone that I need when I'm on a trip. So, as ever, if you find this useful, give it a little thumbs up, help the video along. But look, if you want more details and maybe a broader comparison with some of the other models, I did an 8 drone comparison video the other week, which goes through the pros and cons of 8 different models from large to small. And I'll put a little link up there for you. But look, for now, that's about it. So until next time, here are a few clips that I filmed with the Mini 3 Pro over the last few months. As ever, till next time, have fun, happy flying.